Yeah. So, in other words, I always say that we not only pursue truth, but we worship truth because Christ is the way, the truth, and the life. So, worshiping the truth isn't something that's confined only to church. When you do apologetics, you are a servant of the truth. And welcome, everybody. Hands-on Apologetics. You have entered into Virgin Most Powerful Apologetics Dojo. We're chatting with Jon Grodi about truth and virtue. Are they independent or are they interrelated? And Jon Mark's made some awesome points about how, the moral life really is integrated in knowing and communicating the truth. And right before the break, Jon Mark, you were talking about the cardinal virtues and how prudence is kind of the head of those, but you can't really practice the other virtues without reason. It's got to be governed by reason.
Yeah. We often, again, I think that a good summary of the on-off state that we often live our lives in is either we're operating in prudence, we're trying at the moment to ask what is true, what is God's will, and trying to do that, or it's sort of inverted where our passions are at the helm. I get up this morning, I do what I feel, and it may be good things, but I'm doing them because I feel them. And again, in relationship to truth, to our seeking of truth, our receiving of truth when we come upon it, our ability to share that truth well with other people, we can see the many ways in which if we're simply operating out of our passions, then there are many pitfalls there. Obviously, we already talked about, a lack of courage means when I encounter a difficult truth, I am not going to engage with it. A lack of humility means I'm focusing on the me in truth, my particular picture of the world. I'm going to hold on tightly to my particular way of looking at things, and I'm not going to open up to the way things as they are. So my humility or my pride is involved there. I think a particularly helpful distinction in this day and age, the medievals had a distinction between what they called studiositas and curiositas. Just Pieper talks about this in his book. Where curiositas, so curiosity, was this vice related to truth, whereby one is always wanting to go stare at the dumpster fire, if you will. That's the vice in us that wants to get on social media and observe all the arguments and the debates and people haranguing each other. It's not, you can tell yourself that you're desiring truth, but you may simply be desiring the dumpster fire, the curiosity of seeing and learning about things that really aren't part of your vocation or what God's putting in front of you. Whereas studiositas, this studiousness, is this virtuous pursuit of truth in justice, in relationship to what God's put in your life, your vocation, your time, the decisions you've made, the commitments you have. So, we could go on in many different permutations of that, but again, practically speaking, we can see there's many of these interconnections between our virtues or our vices and how we relate to truth, how we pursue that truth, and how we share that, whether that's in a manner that's becoming of a Christian, whether it's in a manner that's effective, whether it's simply a manner that's us operating out of our passion, maybe perhaps our baser passions. And then finally, our ability to receive truth from others, as well as their ability to receive the truth when we're speaking it to them. It's all bound up with, the kind of people we are, the character that we have. And you could be the smartest person in the world, talking to the other smartest person in the world, the second smartest person in the world. But if you haven't virtue, there's going to be no transmission. There's going to be no giving or receiving. And again, as Corinthians tells us, if I may be well, I'll just go ahead and read it because it's insert some scripture in this discussion. If I speak in the tongues of men and of angels, but have not love, I am a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. And if I have prophetic powers and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have all faith, so as to remove mountains but have not love, I am nothing. End quote. And of course, the irony of that passage is that I think we could safely say that if you have not love, if you have not full virtue, you won't really know all those mysteries. You won't really have that faith, because again, we're a living unity. We separate those parts of our life.
Yeah. It's funny how it's so easy for us to divide ourselves and compartmentalize our experience, and often we can kind of self-deceive ourselves about, like you said, with this curiosity. You can be curious about salacious things, even religious things, but that you're not going to grow in virtue or wisdom by acquiring it. You're just satisfying this passion, the need to know, as opposed to studiosity, which is, learning something that enables you to grow in virtue and help others as well.
Yeah. So that's kind of the practical side, but there's another side to this, which is sort of the more